It's going to happen, Jack. Nothing we can do about it. The wheels are already in motion. Higher-ups tell me I need to release the staff by the end of the week. Well then, AM 640 talk of the town becomes what exactly? Ron sighed. Another DJ-less, auto-programmed, adult easy listening station. Ah, Christ on a bike, I said. They're stealing the soul of this industry. Our Arbitron numbers grew last rating cycle. Late-stage capitalism at its finest, he said, leaning back in his chair. It squeaked as if it had something to add. All the companies are cutting costs, and dying industry and all. I feel like I'm surrounded by death these days. Ron leaned forward on his elbows. With a deep breath, he started speaking in a quiet, measured tone. Oh, when I was knee-high to a grasshopper, had an old boss named Terrence Dials Pullman. Man used to drop pearls of wisdom like a clam Santa Claus. The lesson that always stuck with me was, when the chief calls for war, the braves grab their hatchets. He said with a sigh. Chief Brightstar Radio called for war. I'm just grabbing my hatchet. I slumped. My mind raced. I had just renewed the lease on my apartment, for God's sake. I passed up a job in Santa Fe last month because I had a good feeling about this gig. Now I was about to be another unemployed radio DJ. Worse, an unemployed DJ lacking a massive loyal audience to support his transition into a podcast host. You want to smoke? I know you gave him up, but... Yes, I said without hesitation. I had given them up a year ago to help save my golden pipes. If I were going to be the voice of Night Moves Radio, the local overnight call-in show for the Valley, I felt like it was important to treat my instrument better than I had in the past. What a waste. And despite the no smoking signs throughout the station, Ron knocked out 2 Marlboro Reds, tossed me one and offered a light. The return of smoke to my body was not welcome. The first puff made my mouth tingle, and that sent a message to the rest of my body that a smoke attack was incoming. I started hacking instantly. I remembered why I had quit these. Oh, that's your good sense fighting your worst instincts, Ron said. And me all over, I said, hacking in between each word. Can I tell the audience? Ron exhaled a cloud of smoke. I watched it float up and dissipate as it hit the nicotine-stained ceiling. Obviously, this wasn't his first office smoking session. Gotta keep it under our hat for now. I know it ain't easy, but as a personal favor to me, can you pick up your hatchet? I nodded, took one last cough-fueled pull before putting the butt out on the bottom of my shoe. A powerful desire to leave the office seized me. Despite knowing that it wasn't his call, Ron had just laid me off. If I hung around, I was liable to make an unpleasant situation worse. Ron sensed it. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, Jack. I hate it too. Still gotta grab that hatchet, right? He pointed his smoke at me and shot me a small smile. Attaboy. As soon as the door closed behind me, I threw up 2 middle fingers and mouthed a string of phrases not fit for public consumption. Or so I thought. While I stood there, mouthing a curse into the wild, I heard a shoe squeak behind me. You feeling okay, Jack? It was Manny, our vending machine guy. There was no way he didn't see me just silently lose my mind. I plastered on a smile and turned to face him. Manny, how goes the wonderful world of vending? Same stuff, bro. Seriously though, you good? Office drama, you know how that goes. Hell yeah, I do. Charlie, this dude at my job, is always pissing me off. It's like if you don't want somebody eating your food, put your name on the bag, bro. Whatever, he's got bigger issues than that. Manny said, miming injecting a needle into his arm. He left like 2 weeks ago and ain't come back. Is that pretty common in your industry? Strange stuff happens all the time in this job. Some dudes can't hang. Like, check this out. Last week, I stopped to grab a Slurpee and I heard this guy. Manny, your nose is bleeding, I interrupted. He touched his face and rolled his eyes. I handed him a tissue. Third time tonight, man. It must be the dry air, I said, glancing at the clock. I've got to run though, feel better, man. I left Manny and made my way to the studio. The place wasn't much to look at, but it felt lived in. These walls looked jaundiced. The carpet was gritty in spots. There was an odd funk that we couldn't air out. But it was home. In the middle of the room sat 2 consoles where my amazing and loyal producer Daphne and I worked. Off in the corner was a small booth where our intern sat and screened calls. Daphne saw my face and instantly knew. She was livid. Hell, I had never seen her angrier. How did Ron give you the whole Chief Brave thing? With my positive response, she rolled her eyes. Oh, such BS. You know he's keeping his job right. Actually, he's getting a small pay bump. I placed my piping hot coffee mug near the console. Everything's coming up Millhouse for him, huh? Daphne didn't hear me. The mug held her attention. If I had a dime for every time she gently reminded me not to put my coffee mug near the equipment, I wouldn't have to worry about losing this job. I removed my mug, leaving only a faint brown ring of coffee where it once stood. Without asking, she handed me a paper towel. How did you find out about Ron's raise? Oh, Kathy in HR is a horrible gossip. Plus, I confirmed it online. Brightstar is doing this to 25 AM stations across the country. On the plus side, we're on the cutting edge of modern radio strategy, I said, cleaning up my little mess. AI's going to make the world a better place, you know. Oh, AI can eat it, Daphne said. I think it's programmed not to do those sorts of things. Well, that's why it'll never take off, she said in a huff. Uneaten butts. A nerve-breaking burst of high-pitched static shot out from these speakers in the studio. I jumped and nearly dropped my coffee. Daphne would have killed me. She slapped the speaker with her palm and the noise stopped. The jolt not only hurt her but also caused the overhead lights to strobe for a few seconds before they stilled. You okay? Yeah, fine. I'd cut this hand off if it would save this place. I don't have a backup plan, Jack. Outside of selling foot pics, I don't either. And to continue this depressing news streak, how do you want to handle today's show? I have a killer suggestion that might just bring out the weirdos tonight. Call-in shows are notorious for crank callers. Crackpots are a dedicated bunch. We keep a blacklist of people who will burn us. Most of the time, it's just a bunch of weirdos or some edgelords. Ollie, our fabulous intern, has gotten fantastic at catching dog whistles in the pre-screenings. They had come to us about 2 months ago and instantly became integral to the running of the show. Ollie dreamed of being an on-air talent and was willing to do the grunt work to get there. I was hoping that we would be able to hire them for the show post-school, barring a miracle that wouldn't be happening now. I hate the modern world. Let's let the weirdos have the run of things tonight, I said. You have any red meat for them? Oh boy, do I, Daphne asked. But you sure? We've had some unhinged callers lately. Something in the air, maybe. More unhinged than normal. Oh, way more than normal, boss, Ollie said, walking into the room. One guy swears he's a werewolf sent here by God to rid the world of stray cats and Belgian people. The other night, a caller told me that there are clues on how the world's going to end hidden on the back of cereal boxes, Daphne said. Oh, Frank, Ollie said, their face beaming. Yeah, he's nice, but I think he has a vendetta against Captain Crunch for some reason. Oh, maybe the good captain got promoted over him, I offered. A story as old as time. Captain got to sail out on the SS Guppy and Frank got nothing, Ollie said. And based on our confused glances, they filled us in. The SS Guppy is Captain Crunch's ship. Fun fact, he sails the Milk Sea. His first mate is Sea Dog, and his rival is barefoot pirate Jean Lafoot. How do you know all this? Daphne asked, dumbfounded. Ollie shrugged. ADHD, a love of serial lore, and unlimited internet access as a kid. I laughed. I needed that. Did you need it because of the whole, Ollie dragged their thumb across their neck. I nodded. Ollie sighed. I heard earlier. Yeah, it sucks a big dong. Yeah, a freakishly huge one, like Ripley's level huge. Feel it in your lungs huge. Ollie and I both gave Daphne a sideways look. She shrugged. Am I wrong here? I glanced up at the clock. It was game time. Screw it. Tonight, we let the freak flags fly. Ron won't be mad, Ollie asked. What's he gonna do, fire us? Hell yeah, Daphne said. Let's get crazy. I have a hot story that'll bring him out too. Hands in, I said, getting everybody to do our pre-show huddle. We're bruised, we're battered, and we're going to be unemployed in a week, but we're good people. Let's do the best show we can tonight. Night moves on 3. 1, 2, 3. Night moves. We all said in unison before splintering off to get started with the broadcast. I took my seat and heard the sultry voice of Bob Seeger starting off the show. I placed my cans on, cleared my throat, and leaned into the microphone, waiting for Daphne's signal. After a beat, she pointed at me. It's 11 o'clock in the valley that never sleeps. It's time for Night Moves with Jack Mann. I'm here to guide you down this dark path, past the witching hour and on to the moment the sun's first rays catch your eyes. Hope you had a good day, but good days make for bad radio. So let's hear some gripes, concerns, stories, and scares. Daphne, how are things in your neck of the woods this evening? Hanging in there. Best we can do in these uncertain times. That said, Jack, do I have a wild story to share with you tonight? Love it. Hit me, I said. Well, the other day I was browsing Reddit and I found a local legend that I thought might be fun to kick us off. And this is from Reddit, people, so take it with a grain of salt. Oh, the saltiest of salts, Daphne said. But have you heard about the South Street Wanderer? I have not. Ollie? I said, glancing at them. Ollie shrugged their shoulders. 0 for 2 on us knowing about the South Street Wanderer, Daph. Well, it's the Valley's own local ghost legend. Apparently, all along South Street, people report seeing a figure lurking in the shadows at all hours of the day. It doesn't hide, but it avoids people. Until it doesn't. Daphne played a shocking music sting to underline her tale. I chuckled. What happens then? Promises to warn you about a potential future disaster if you spread the word about the encounter. I don't know how he keeps track though. So he hides from people unless they agree to be his hype man. It would seem so. Why would he want that? His mixtape ain't gonna sell itself, Jack, Ollie said, an assassin sniping a joke from the mic that we kept in the call screening room. Phones don't answer themselves, Ollie, Daphne said. As she did, the lights in the studio flickered but stayed on. And given our run of luck, the power going out and us not being able to broadcast would be par for the course. Thankfully though, something out there loved us, because the power stayed flowing. I liked it, Ollie, I said, nodding to the call screen booth. I have to admit that the Wanderer's mixtape is fire. Not a coincidence considering that people complain about burning sensations after they speak with them. Wait, what? I asked. He gave them an STD. Oh, didn't read that, thank God. People report that after hearing their predictions, they sometimes get a burning sensation in their chest. Others say that they get a pain like an electric shock. A few have mentioned getting day-long headaches, oozing rashes, violent nosebleeds, and nightmares. Well, not ideal, but who wouldn't exchange a migraine for future safety? And honestly, is there anything worse than a rash? I asked. Well, the other reported effects are bleeding from pores, coma, and death. I waited a beat. Still not as bad as itchy skin, right? Daphne laughed. I'd rather itch than bleed from my eyes or, die. A coma, though, sounds nice. Coma dreams have to be wild. A brain free from the waking world might produce some interesting insights. Maybe how to make radio more lucrative, I said. Daphne grinned and shot me a look. I was out of craps to give. The lights above us flickered once more. Again, the power held. I looked at Daphne, who shrugged. She started jotting something down and held up a pad of paper with her message. Bright Star already not paying the power bill. I stifled a laugh. So, Valley Dwellers, have any of you interacted with the South Street Wanderer? Know someone who has? Hell, if you are the South Street Wanderer and want to tell your side of the story, we're ready to hear you out. But don't give us any predictions. My skin is already in awful shape. Can't add bloody pores to the equation. A few seconds later, the phone calls started coming in. Ali, ready to go forward with the weirdos, was quickly talking to callers and jotting down brief messages for both Daphne and me to see. On the screen it read, Line 1. Joe saw the South Street Wanderer at 7-Eleven. I glanced over at Ali, who was grinning from ear to ear. Oh, we've got a live one here. Joe on line 1 says that he saw the South Street Wanderer getting a Slurpee at 7-Eleven. Did I get that right, Joe? We all waited for Joe to speak up. When noise started coming from the other end of the phone, it was heavy breathing. All of us had been in this game long enough to have a good guess about what this guy was up to. Typically, we hang up. Today we're gonna ride it out. Joe, sounds like you have your hands full. Sorry, came a panicked-sounding voice on the other end. I'm out walking my dogs, but yeah, I saw that guy at 7-Eleven like 2 days ago. Well, outside the 7-Eleven, on South Street in Washington. What was he doing? Daphne asked. Hiding on the side of the building. He wasn't getting a big bite hot dog. No, Joe said with a slight chuckle. At first, I thought he was a homeless dude. There's usually a few guys there asking for cigarettes. I mean, they're harmless. The thing that I saw, though, it made my blood run cold. Why? Joe sighed. Something felt off to me. He was in the shadows, but the area directly around him was like darker than the rest of the night. And there was a fog around him, almost like he was standing in a storm cloud. What was he doing? Watching. Not just my actions, but also my thoughts, my memories. He was... Biscuit! No, drop it! Sorry, my dog got into some trash. So it was an eerie vibe, or... I mean, yes, but more than that. I could feel him in my brain. Not physically, but supernaturally. It felt like he was trying to get my attention without speaking. Well, thank God he wasn't in your mind, Jack, Daphne joked. And God has no home there, I said. It's not a joke, Joe said, his voice firm. Especially when I heard a voice that I didn't recognize inside my own brain. Oh, I've had that before. Recently, actually, Daphne said. You sure it wasn't your mind playing tricks on you? No, Joe said definitively. I know it sounds crazy, but he was there. I heard another voice that wasn't mine, and I wasn't even drunk or high. What was that voice saying? I asked as I jotted down a note on a notepad. I flashed it to Daphne. It read, "This going somewhere?" She nodded yes, and I let the man ramble. It was all gibberish at first, like spinning a radio dial, looking for the right station. AM 640, the voice of the valley, I expertly chimed in. Right, Joe said, nervously laughing. Just half words, foreign words, blips and beeps until it found the right sounds and delivered the message. Which was? He asked if I wanted to know the future. Without thinking, I said, sure. Like you said earlier, Jack, why pass up that chance? And great minds think alike. He just kept repeating the same thing. No survivors. Cryptic, I said. I had a flight to catch the next day, and after I heard that, well, I canceled it. Wait, a random voice in your mind made you cancel a plane flight. Aren't you worried about the cost of changing plans? Daphne asked. Well, of course, Joe said. Who can honestly afford that? But like when something weird gives you a sign, you take it. My life is worth more than a plane ticket, you know what I mean? What happened to the flight? Engine failure. Had to land right after takeoff. Everyone was okay, but I know in my bones that if I had been on that plane, it would have crashed. Ollie started waving their hands to get my attention. I glanced down at the call screen. Joe, hold on. We have another person who swears they saw this thing at the 7-Eleven too. Greg, are you there? Bro, this guy's spitting the truth. This thing's always hanging out there. Really? I said, my internal BS detector going off. You have seen this too. Bro, this thing flippin' loves taquitos. There it was, a crank call. I knew it was coming, we all did. What flavor taquito? Regular. I love you, Emily Sanders. Flip-flop-flu, Greg said before the sound of a phone hanging up. Taquito flavors always trip up the weirdos, I said. This isn't a joke, Joe spat. This thing is real. It gets inside you and hacks your brain. Sometimes I'll hear a voice that isn't mine, see things that aren't in the room. It uses me now. It sees and it hears through me. He's probably using me right now to get to you, to your audience. That thought chilled me. My week was already crappy. I didn't need to add becoming a ghost figure's personal camera to the list. I didn't believe Joe, but the man spoke with such conviction that it gave me pause. Looking at Daphne's face, she agreed. Cementing that opinion, she again hit the shocking music sting. I held back my laughter. From inside their call screening room, Ollie did not. Their guffaws didn't come across on the air, but the general feeling did. This guy was full of it. Let's hope that's not the case, I said. And does he have any messages for us? You don't want me to answer that. People stay away from this thing. Don't look at it, don't engage. It's probably a demon. The phone line went dead. Oh, that's not at all ominous, Daphne chimed in. I think that's probably a good time to take a break. You're listening to Night Moves on AM 640. I said, pulling my headphones off as we went to commercial. I glanced over at Daphne. A banger to start out with, Daph. Great job finding the story. Ollie burst into the studio and yelled, The lines are jammed. Apparently our ghoul is well known and super active in the community. Maybe he's running for office. Sounds like an ideal politician, I said, minus the evil stuff. Actually, even with the evil stuff, he's an ideal politician, Daphne countered. South Street Wanderer 2028, Ollie proclaimed. We could sell t-shirts. And Daphne stood up, and as she did, her whole body shivered. She rubbed her arms, warming herself. I won't miss the Arctic temps in the studio, that much I promise you. I'm warm, actually. You feel cold. And not to break up the climate crisis in the studio, but Daphne and I were talking pre-show about, maybe sending me out on assignment. What to wear? We're not that far from South Street, Ollie said. I could go down there, do a man on the street segment, assuming you wouldn't mind handling the phones while I was gone, Dav. Ollie, no matter what your position is at a radio station, you never stop answering phones, Daphne said with a smile. I like you heading down there. It shows moxie. Maybe you'll catch something, cause a sensation. Then we can really sell t-shirts. Save the show, Ali said hopefully. I think the only thing that can save the show now is divine intervention, I said, raining on the parade. So send young Ali down to the street. What do we have to lose? Well, we could lose Ali, I said. A small price to pay for fame, Daphne said. Kidding, of course. I could be radio's own DB Cooper, Ali said. They turned to me. I can handle myself though, trust me. When you're in my situation, you need to know how to throw hands, Jack. I sighed. I'd rather not send our lovely but eager colleague off to meet with a potential monster, I said. But if Ali is okay, I wouldn't say no to it either. Ali laughed. Odds are it's a bust. I can't imagine this thing always hangs around the 7-Eleven, right? Maybe the clerk talks about it. Or more likely a drunk or two might have some things to ramble on about. You said to unleash the weirdos, Daphne said. Drunks qualify, especially 7-Eleven drunks. You come back if any of them have a message about your future or if you get a headache. Deal? Ali's face lit up. They squealed and did a little happy dance. Daphne and I laughed. Ali was a good kid and would make an amazing radio personality one day. Why not give them a chance to add to their reel? In this economy, in this business, the next gig could be elusive, especially to unknown talent. We're back in 2, I said, glancing at the clock. Let's get through some of these calls and see where we are at the top of the hour. If we're flagging, Operation Taquito starts. The next hour was a mixed bag of callers, some genuine, some fake, some off their meds. The topic remained the same though. Despite their demeanor and mental state, anyone who dealt with this thing had similar stories. They heard a voice, received an offer, and either ignored it or took it. If they agreed, the reward was a cryptic message, minor aches and pains, and really horrid vibes. And you say the pain just stopped. Oh yeah, another wanderer victim said. About a week after it happened, I didn't feel anything. Didn't feel like another person was in your head. HE double hockey sticks, no, the caller said with a laugh. That guy's as loony as an outhouse rat. Turns out that tons of people in the valley knew about the Wanderer. This mythological monster was far more well known than our show. A common refrain callers felt the need to add was, "Never heard your show before, but..." That was humbling. I had never heard of the legend before Daph had brought it to me. Apparently I was the only person in the valley who hadn't, because our call volume was the heaviest that it had ever been. Way more than the Nacho Bomb incident of 23, and that garnered local news coverage. Even with that bump, our steady audience was fleeting. Tonight though, it felt as if the whole town was listening in. I guess I'm just confused about why everybody calls him the Wanderer when he doesn't seem to do much wandering. It's because his Instagram account has all travel pictures, Daphne said. I'll say this, the ghoul knows how to frame a shot. Ali says somebody on line 3 can explain the Wanderer stuff. Let's hear what a pro has to say. Cindy, line 3, welcome to Night Moves. Our phone screener says that you have some scholarly information about the Wanderer that you would like to share. I didn't want to go on the air, but whatever, Cindy said. You guys need to stop talking about this. The more attention you give it, the stronger it becomes. A classic narcissist. You sure he's not my ex? Daph joked. Okay, this isn't funny. The Wanderer seeks specific individuals that it can use to spread its sickness. It knows when people talk about it. Your show is making a dangerous situation worse. A sickness? Are you talking about headaches and nosebleeds? If things get worse, infinitely worse if it gets too strong, Cindy said. You guys have no idea what you're doing. This thing is ancient and evil. It exists to spread misery. Well, then it absolutely is my ex, Daphne joked. Doesn't it help people avoid catastrophe, though? Can't be all that bad. Well, that's the trick. It tells you something bad will happen, but provides zero specifics. The previous plane crash caller's a good example of this. No survivors. Well, of what? The guy took it to mean his flight, but if I had heard no survivors and didn't have a trip planned, what would that mean to me? It could be anything. But the flight had engine trouble, I said. So the Wanderer was right. No, it wasn't. No one died on that flight. What a monster that ghoul didn't kill off a plane full of people, Daphne said. Her tone was jokey, but her face wasn't. Daph had pretzeled her body and was leaning close to the mic. Something about this caller was getting under her skin, like this was a personal attack. Okay, I'll grant you that the engine trouble was an amazing coincidence, but the message wasn't uniquely prophetic because nothing ultimately happened. The caller was safe, the plane was safe. Because the Wanderer told him it would be. Jack, am I crazy? Cindy here doesn't seem to be saying much of anything. To a true believer like yourself, I can see that being the case. That was the splinter under the fingernail for Daph. She sighed, laughed, and attacked. True believer? I just read about this the other day, Daphne said. I'm just not willing to dismiss it because one rando crazy has a theory. Whoa, I said. Alright, let's relax. I'm used to true believers getting upset. It's okay, Cindy said. It looked like Daphne was ready to pounce. I balled up a piece of paper and I threw it at her. It bounced off her console and broke her concentration. I wagged my finger at her and she leaned back in her chair, her claws retracted. Cindy, what were you saying? This isn't a theory, it's a scientific fact. Think about it like this. Let's say something incredible happens to you, good or bad, but you don't understand why it happened. Lacking concrete information, our brain fills in the information gaps with belief. It's how conspiracy theories bloom. You saying that all our callers are conspiracy theorists? Daphne asked. Or that the world isn't flat, I countered. We can all fall under the sway of good stories, Cindy said, ignoring my joke. That caller believes that had he gone on that plane, it would have crashed. How does he know that? He doesn't. But it's an emotional truth, and that's enough for some of us. Actual proof requires facts. Belief requires only hope, and hope is nothing more than positive thoughts. What does the Wanderer bother with that at all? I asked. It lies to gain your trust. That's a seed planted in your mind. Some people won't water the seed so it never germinates, but others will. They'll tell people about this incredible thing that happened to them. Each conversation gives the Wanderer strength, more of a hold on the person's mind. By the time the seed blossoms, the victim's ready to be used for the next stage. Cindy said, Jack, it's called the Wanderer because its evil wanders to every mind that's open to its message. So our show is an evil super spreader event, Daphne asked. What happens when it gets strong? What's the Wanderer's purpose? Chaos, death, destruction. It uses its victims. Some will spread their gospels, some will enact their violence. Some will stand aside as it happens. Each role plays a part in their evil plans. And didn't realize we had such a large contingent of evil listeners, Daphne said. Oh, we're all capable of evil. You asked about its purpose. Best I can tell is that the Wanderer exists to end us all. It infects people and allows them to act on their worst impulses. Cindy's words hung there for longer than I would normally allow. What started as a fun, goofy topic had moved into a horrifying place. We were all processing this strange left turn into genuine concern. I had a bunch of other questions, but the next sound that I heard was a dial tone. Daphne hung up on Cindy. A new age woo-woo kook pranking us, probably surrounded by crystals. They're worse than wine moms. Well, Cindy, I appreciated the insight. I'm gonna run right out and buy one of her crystals, ward off bad juju. Maybe I'll get one for the studio. Keep the peace, I said. Daphne's right eyebrow raised and she narrowed her eyes at me. I laughed. Saturn is in retrograde, the moon is waxing gibbous, and you're listening to Night Moves on AM 640. Back in. The door to the studio slammed open. Daphne and I both turned to see a familiar face standing there. Manny. The bloody tissue was still wadded up in his nose. His eyes looked glazed. When he moved, he looked like a puppet on marionette strings. Manny, what the hell? Keep going, he said as he smiled widely, too wide, Joker level wide. Keep talking. It sounded like his voice, but it wasn't his voice. It was flat, monotone, lifeless. His whole body turned toward Daphne. She clutched a pair of scissors. Keep going. He coughed. The hacking unleashed 2 gushing streams of blood from his nostrils. Daphne screamed. I took us to commercial and rushed over to Manny, but something in her scream must have snapped Manny out of his trance. His whole body relaxed until he saw the blood streaming from his nose. He pinched the bridge and tilted his head back to staunch the flow. Oh, Jesus Christ and his disciples, Manny said. Not this again. Manny, what the hell? Panic crossed his face. How did I get here, dog? He said, confused. Why am I bleeding so much? The door kicked open again to reveal a pissed-off Ron. His face was red with rage, but his eyes showed fear. As soon as he saw Manny, he grabbed him by the shirt and started shaking him. Manny screamed and pushed Ron back. Before it could come to blows, I slid in between them and broke them up. Chill, chill, I yelled. They finally relaxed after exchanging a few choice words. I put my hand on Manny's shoulder and looked him dead in the eyes. What's going on? I don't know, bro. Last thing I remember was driving to my next stop, listening to the show, and then you were here talking to me. He's gotta go, Ron said. Never come back here. You hear me, boy? Who the hell are you calling boy, old man? Enough, Daphne screamed. Ron, we've got it handled. Go back to the office and have another smoke or 10. Ron looked at me and I nodded. The intrusion was unexpected, but I had a handle on it. He straightened out his shirt, ran his hand through his slick, thinning hair and nodded to us all. He gave Manny the finger and walked out. Man, screw that fool. You feeling okay? I asked. You kind of freaked everybody out. And to be real with you, not really. I think I'm going to go home sick. I'm sorry, dog. I didn't mean to break up the party. Show's been fired tonight, though. He turned to Daphne. Sorry, Daph. I didn't mean nothing by it. Honest. I feel better, Manny, Daphne said. She didn't drop the scissors. Once the studio door shut, I expected the vibe to shift, but it didn't. And doom hung in the air. Even when Ali entered from the call screening room, everything still felt heavy. I glanced up at the clock and saw that we had 30 seconds to air. Maybe we should change topics, I suggested. No way, Daphne said. We're onto something big here, let's see it through. I agree, Ali said. This is the highest call volume that we've had the entire time that I've been here. If I count as part of the show, I say stay on topic. You absolutely count, I said. But are you guys sure about this? Yes, Daphne said. We're all gonna need clips from this for our reels. Take Joan on line 3. She says she wants to refute Cindy. I knew that lady was trash, Daphne said. The music for the show started and we all settled back into our roles. It felt strange after such a dramatic interruption that we would return to work as if nothing had happened. Calls needed to be answered. Commercials need to be played. Best not to worry about the crumbling world around you, It's a survival instinct buried in our animal brains. Act like nothing bothers you and you can become king of the jungle. Before we left, we had a little brouhaha in here. I dare say we were edging towards a Donnybrook, and Daphne said, her voice steady. No need to panic, people. It was a simple accident. A vendor took a wrong turn into the studio. Considering the topic, it gave us all a good scare, but I'm good. Ollie, you good? Ollie is giving a thumbs up. Daph, you good? As good as I was pre-show, she said with a wink. Well then we're golden. Who's the next victim here? Joan on line 3 says that caller Cindy was full of it, Daphne said. Joan, you're live with night moves. Why was Cindy full of crap? Silence. Sometimes callers get distracted while waiting for their turn to speak and they miss their cue. It's not uncommon. Worse, sometimes we connect with people who are just waiting to get on air and unleash their free hand on themselves. Panting like an overheated dog, getting off on bringing the world in on their sick idea of a good time. This wasn't any of those things. Static through the speaker, like a record needle stuck in the run-out groove. I cleared my throat and asked for Joan again. Nothing. Not even a hint of somebody being on the other line. I looked over at Daphne, who shrugged. Joan, you still with us? Finally, through the static, we heard mumbling. No words, but there was the cadence of human speech. I turned up the volume in my headphones to listen closely. I leaned in, pressed my headphones against my ears, and focused like I was on top of Bunker Hill, waiting for the whites of my enemy's eyes to appear. My musket at the ready. Ooh, I heard something, Daphne said. Joan, can you repeat that? More crackling and snapping. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought that Joan had the phone close to her bowl of cereal. Finally, a single word broke containment and found my ears. Fate? I asked. Did you say fate? Fate? I heard wait, Daphne said. Instead of a clarification, the noticeably not female voice croaked out a garbled string of noises that gave me the impression of an incantation. I don't think this is Joan, I said. I don't think it's a person, Daphne said. I'm dumping her, or whatever she is. Daphne went to hang up the call when a burst of static and a high-pitched squeal blasted onto the air from the other end of the line. Joan must have seen the whites of my eyes first and fired. The shot hit me. I tipped back in my chair, threw off my headphones, and covered my ears in pain. I had forgotten to turn the volume back down. The noise made my eardrums go all neo-part. The sonic attack left us in a stunned silence. Dead air is the worst thing that you can have on the radio. After a beat, I turned down my volume, put my headphones back on, and cleared my throat. I could still hear the ringing as I spoke. Well, Joan made some interesting points there. Sorry to all your car speakers and/or eardrums out there. What? Daphne joked, cupping her hand to her ear. A few warning lights on my console started blinking. Never a good sign. I couldn't hear my voice in my headphones. Damage had been done. I had been silenced. I motioned to Daph, but she was already on it. She took control. Oh, folks, we're having some technical difficulties here. Hate to do this, but we need to take another break. Forgive us. Please enjoy this fun Jiffy Lube commercial. This is Night Moves on AM 640. You're a natural. Ever given thought to a career in radio? I said, hoping to break the tension. I heard it was a dying industry, Daphne said. What's up with the board? How if I know? You want to take a look? You've got to learn about some of this at some point, Jack, she said, walking over to do some quick diagnosis. Ollie walked into the studio. Anyone else have a headache and a nosebleed? Hilarious, I said. If the main board is fried, you can use mine, Ali said. Where are you gonna be? I asked, confused. Ali and Daphne looked at each other like schemers cutting me out of their plot. Daphne looked back at me. I think it's time for Operation Taquito. And being out on the streets right now with as weird as things have been tonight, it seems unwise. Oh, we just had somebody burst into the studio, Ali said. The streets might be safer. Ali's an adult. If she says she can handle it, I say we go for it. Ali is an adult and they are fine with it, Ali said, using third person to mitigate Daphne's mix-up. Jack, what's the worst that can happen? Well, that's what the Secret Service said to President Kennedy before he agreed to take the roof off his car. The door to the studio opened. Ron was back. He looked more relaxed now that he wasn't sparring with the vendor. Still, we all stayed quiet. Ron could sense the tension. Wounds were fresh. Blood still stained our bandages. I wanted to say sorry for overreacting earlier. Hey, it happens, I said, finally breaking our silence. Bored okay? I'm not sure we have a backup plan if it's not. Ron nodded and sighed. Bright Star will never fix it. I speak for everyone when I say I don't give a crap about Bright Star's future struggles, Daphne said, rubbing her temples. She wasn't handling the news well. It was physically getting to her. I assumed she'd follow her zinger up with a quick apology, but the longer the second hand turned on the clock, the more I realized it wasn't coming. We were all standing there like a house on the side of the road until Ron sighed and nodded. I wish I could change things, but the good Lord didn't put me in the position to change much except clothes and my sinning ways. Did you need something, Ron? I said, trying to move us past the unpleasantness. To apologize and compliment you all on the show. People are into it. I know. He paused. I know things are hard now, but you three have a good thing going here. What the company is doing to all you is horrible, Daphne said. Unfair, Ali added. Wrong, Ron said. I didn't join the radio business to listen to fake DJs play the same 20 songs on a loop. I don't have much in this world, but I do have some connections. If you want me to pass those along, I can. So we go work there until those corporate behemoths decide to cut costs too, Daphne spat. Her anger was genuine but misplaced. We were drowning and she was turning her nose up at a man throwing us a life vest. I cut her off at the knees. I speak for all of us when I say that we would appreciate that, Ron. Thank you. He nodded and swirled his finger in the air. What's the next step here? I moved to Daph's console. She moves to Ali's. I moved to the 7-Eleven, Ali said, and do a man on the street piece. Be careful out there. Weirdos don't just call into radio shows, Ali. They also work the streets. Ron said, sounding very much like a parent. I guess that makes us all the same then, I said, trying to break the tension. It worked. Even Daphne smiled. Ron bid us an adieu and headed back to his office. I glanced over at Ali. He's right though, first sign of trouble and book it back to the studio, okay? No job was worth dying for, especially one that already has an expiration date. And get the story though, Daphne said. I shot her a look. Ali nodded and set out to do their first big radio piece. Memories of my first chance flooded back to my mind. I went to a minor league baseball game to race the mascot. Tubby Tuna, the mascot in question, smoked me. And for the rest of my time at the station, the crew called me Fish Boy. I didn't love it, but being part of a creative team will make you accept it. What would Ali's Fish Boy moment be? Ali's safe, right? I asked. Probably, I mean, if something bad happens, think of the ratings bump. Not funny, I said. Just sending somebody out in the middle of the night to find a monster. It seems wrong, right? Nah, Daphne said with a shrug. She, or they rather, has mentioned taking taekwondo classes. No better test of your martial arts skills than muggers and weirdos during the witching hour. Easy on the venomous they, huh? All these good people. No, it's nothing personal, just not used to it is all. Neither was I at first, but the world changes, I said, sitting at my new console. Adjust or die. And Daphne mimicked my concerns and headed for Ollie's station. Or we bring back the good old days. Isn't that why we're still in radio and not podcasting? I had more to say, but time worked against me. I welcomed the audience back and informed them that our intern was on their way to the 7-Eleven to question the South Street Wanderer. People had opinions about that. Oh my god, why? Hell yeah, brother, get to the source. Oh, this is gonna end horribly. Call Ollie back. Ollie sounds hot. Daphne too, also Jack. I need a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Or a friend. What if you get there and find out it's nothing but a crazy bomb? The government is controlling the Wanderer. The Wanderer isn't real. If Ollie dies, can I take their job? We ran through the calls one by one. We let these people bleed into their phones in 3 to 5 minute chunks and tried to find entertainment in their ramblings. This feeling of improvised jazz is why I love call-in shows. Keeps you sharp, makes you think on your feet. If you're good when the bullets fly, nothing can take you down. After 20 minutes, we had established a good connection with Ollie. They had gotten to the 7-Eleven unharmed, and Daphne broke into a lovely conversation that I was having with a man who swore that after seeing the Wanderer, whose food started talking to him. I was fine with the interruption. Jack, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Ollie, are you there? There was some static before we heard Ollie's pitch-perfect radio voice cut through the noise. Hi, Daph. Yes, I am currently standing outside the South Street 7-Eleven. Describe the scene for us there, Ollie, I said. Any ghouls afoot? Ollie chuckled. Ghoul-free as of now, but there are more people here than I would have thought at this hour. Any fine, upstanding citizens among them? Daphne asked. Maybe. The clerk seems cool. There's a guy buying cigarettes and, jerky. 3 in the morning, dude, really? What are the vibes at the scene? Pretty immaculate thus far. There are a few, unhoused dudes chilling. Just say homeless, Ollie, Daphne said with a sigh. Why be PC about burns? I shot Daphne a look. Ollie, will they speak to you? I can. Excuse me. Yes, you. Hi, hey, we're live on the radio. You have a few minutes to talk. Be careful, Daphne said. They may have weapons. One is holding a lotto scratcher. I think I'm safe, Ollie said. Oh, okay, hi sir. My name is Ollie. What's yours? An all too excited voice shone through the line. Robert, but you can call me Sauce. Sauce? Ollie asked, her voice lilting. 'Cause I'm the boss. Sauce, have you ever heard of the South Street Wanderer? Nah, I ain't never seen him. He work at the 7-Eleven. Oh, kind of, yeah, it's a local urban legend. I thought I was the only local urban legend around here. Haha, hey Willie, you hear what I just said? Sauce, ever seen anything weird down here? Ollie said, trying to wrangle control of the interview back. I mean, it's the streets. You always see weird Wait, we really on the radio? We are. Night Moves on AM 640. A great plug, I said. Hell yeah, Jack's something, right? The same, Ollie said. He's from the Nantucket somethings. Really huge deal with the sailing sector. Daphne laughed. Ollie was good and quick on their feet. An asset to what could be one of the biggest shows in the valley if Brightstar still believed in us. The paranormal stuff was paying off tonight. We could shift gears permanently. I let my mind wander to Art Bell. Coast to Coast started as a nightly Vegas radio show and became a national phenomenon. Why not us? Willie, you ever heard of the Wanderer? Sauce yelled out. Who's Willie, Ollie? I asked. Oh, he's another guy, they said. Willie, we're on the radio, okay? Hey there to all the people in Radio Land, Willie said. His voice was melodic. They want to know if you ever heard of the South Street Wanderer or something. It's an urban legend, a figure in the dark predicts your future but gives you nightmares. Ain't that the government? Sauce said, cackling. Willie's tone was more serious. Actually, didn't Chuck say he saw something like that the other day? Man, Chuck ain't acting right these days. Wait, you said you saw your friend Chuck and he saw the Wanderer and now he's acting off. Well, Chuck's been off since he lost his job, Willie said. And his marbles, Sauce added. Yeah, yep, those too. But he was saying the other day that he had met some guy in the alley. Said it just appeared like a fog. Scared him half to death. Said it was mumbling something, but he couldn't hear it all. Chuck has a ringing in his ear, you know. I didn't, but good to know, Ollie ad-libbed. What did the thing say to him? Chuck said he heard the man say overdose and that was enough to scare him. Chuck ain't got no problems, so to speak, but he does mess with that junk from time to time. Time to time, that boy's higher than the president's plane during the end of the world, man. Gone. Not always, Willie said. His voice softened. Chuck told me that guy scared him off the junk. Ain't touched it since that day. But he's had a hard time sleeping and eating. Every time I run into him, he's got fresh cuts on his arms and legs. Sounds like a druggie, Daphne said. You sure that he's not on drugs now? Ollie asked, cleaning up Daphne's comment. He says he ain't, I believe him. Says that thing's stalking him, like the Grim Reaper or something. Do you know where Chuck is now? Can we speak to him? Ollie from AM 640, screamed a voice from across the lot. Is that you? Your fame precedes you, I said. Not bad for a lowly intern, Daphne said. An unpaid intern at that, Ollie said before turning their attention to the person screaming at them. Have you seen the Wanderer? Oh, it's in my pants. Epic burn, the man yelled. Jack, I'm being told the Wanderer is in this man's pants. If that's not a scary thought, I don't know what is. Hey man, don't be rude, Sauce yelled. They're talking on the radio about... Oh, what the hell? Ollie said, the jokey tone falling away from their voice. What's going on? I asked. The power went out. The electric company always works at the most inconvenient times, Daphne said. No, it's on everywhere else. Only the 7-Eleven and the surrounding lights are out. I'm in the dark, literally and figuratively. What the hell's going on? Sauce yelled. What is that there by the alley? Willie yelled. Can you see anything, Ollie? I asked. My heart rate ticked up. I leaned closer to the mic and I felt my palms get moist. Was this thing actually manifesting live on the air? The viral potential of this moment would be off the charts. It could save the show. Talk to me here. Fill us in. We're still live. Jack, there's something or someone near the alley, but I can't be sure what it is. Well, that's a dumpster, Sauce said. Are you guys hearing that? Ollie asked. Is that getting picked up by the mic? I listened to the air and heard little beyond the gaggle of folks that had surrounded Ollie. What are we listening for? Someone talking in a really low tone. Softly, they're saying, explosion, Willie said. I heard the word explosion. Nah, Sauce said. It's saying tribe. Which is it? Daphne asked. Because we can't hear anything but a few homeless guys bumping gums. Silence until Ollie gasped in surprise. Willie, why are your eyes bleeding? The bottom fell out from under me. The punch hit me square in the gut. Ripples of pain and unease rapidly spread through my body. Something was wrong, really wrong. Before I could respond, Ollie yelped again. Jesus, Sauce, your ear. Man, what the hell else is gonna go wrong for old Sauce? I'm supposed to be the boss. Ollie, are you okay? We heard footfalls of somebody running toward the group. My gut tensed up. Yo, hey Ollie, hey, I was the guy yelling about pants earlier. I'm Bobby, by the way. Okay, Ollie said. There's someone in the alley. I saw it as the lights went out. I didn't want to believe it, but I swear there's something there. Oh hell, Sauce said. Who the heck's in the alley? The Wanderer, Willie whispered. Chuck was right. I'll go with you if you want to go check it out, Bobby said, his voice so wound up that you would mistake it for a thread on a bobbin. Guys, should I go? Yes, Daphne spat out. That's the whole reason you're down there. Sauce, Willie, you guys are willing to go into the alley as well? I was just coming up here to get some water, man, and now my ears are bleeding and you're asking me to chase a demon with a stranger, Sauce said. Willie, you hearing this nonsense? The hell is going on in the world, man? Evil, Willie said. It's spreading. Well, that ain't gonna make me want to go in the alley, brother. That much I can promise. Hey, we gotta stop it. Look what it did to Chuck. Drugs did that to Chuck, and I already stay away from that mess. I like my life, well, parts of it anyway. I don't think chasing monsters is gonna be a new hobby I pick up tonight or any night. You owe me for what happened on Santa Paula Place 2 months ago. Remember? The ping-pong nature of the conversation had a musical cadence, less a talk between people and more of a symphony of raw human emotion. It made great radio. If I were on the edge of my seat, I knew the rest of our listeners were as well. Willie, why you gotta bring that shit up, man? Sauce said with a sigh. Language, and Daphne said. We had to dump that. Sorry, Ollie said. Can't control the world around me. Ollie, maybe you should come back. I don't know if I trust well any of this, I said. The show isn't worth going into a dark alley with 3 strange men. Jack, I'm okay, I promise. Plus, think of the press. There's my girl, Daphne said. Ollie sighed, so to speak. And Daphne rolled her eyes at me. And go find this monster, huh? If Willie goes and gives me $5, I'll go too, Sauce said. It's only fair. So we gonna do this or what? Bobby asked. I'll record it on my phone in case we see anything. We're ready, and if I know Daph and Jack, they're ready too. Fill us in on what you see, Daphne said. Just like old-time news radio. Think of the Hindenburg crash, Ollie. It made that guy's entire career. Oh, the humanity, Ollie mimicked. I laughed. I didn't want to. My mind was racing with the 9 million horrible things that could happen in this moment. But Ollie jarred me out of it. Whatever came next for night moves, Ollie would definitely have to be a part of it. And this clinched it. The lights in the studio flickered. I watched as the green volume level lights quickly faded before lighting back up to full strength. I shot a look over to Daphne, who checked a few settings before giving me the thumbs up. We were still on the air. Ollie, what are you feeling right? The rest of the sentence never made it to air. The power dipped again. This time it stayed off for a few seconds before booting back on. Daphne once again gave everything a once-over and shrugged. Ollie, can you hear me? I said. We're having some power issues in the studio. No way, Ollie screamed. The lights in the alley are flickering too. It's pulsing like a strobe. It feels like a rave. The hell it does. I'm about to Carl Lewis my butt back home, Saul said. It knows we're coming. Can you see the Wanderer? No, but the alley is noticeably colder. Like 20 degrees or so. It smells bad too, Bobby said. Like worse than a normal alley. It's death, Willie said. Once you smell it, you never forget it. Before I could dive deeper, the door to the studio swung open and Ron came rushing in. His face looked chalky and drained of all color. He clearly had something to say but didn't want to interrupt the show. He jotted something down in his chicken scratch handwriting and held it up for us to read. "Don't let Ollie go down there." "What?" I said out loud. I didn't mean to, but the words flowed out of me like a leak in a hose. "Why?" "Are you having a side conversation?" Daphne said. Ron turned to her and showed her his warning. She looked at me and back to Ron. "What are you talking about?" "If Ollie gets hurt, we can get into major legal trouble," Ron said, breaking in. "Ollie, stay away from the alley." "Trouble from whom?" Ollie agreed to go into the alley. If anything happens, well, she knew the score. "They," I corrected. "They," Daphne said. "Besides, there isn't going to be a station to sue anyway. We're fighting for window seats as the plane is about to slam into the towers. Might as well get good content for our troubles." "Cut the feed," Ron said, turning to me. "Cut the feed now, Jack." "Why are you freaking out?" I asked. "I saw it," he said finally. "The Wanderer, just now in my office." The air left the room. I even heard Ollie and her group stop walking. My eyes caught the blaring yellow lights from the jam-packed phone lines. I locked eyes with Ron. He was serious. Tears were welling up. "Is this a joke?" Daphne said, finally breaking the silence. "No," Ron whispered. "It's said that if Ollie goes into the alley..." His voice caught. He couldn't complete the sentence. But you didn't have to be Nostradamus to see where this was going. Ollie was in mortal danger. "Ollie, did you hear that?" I asked. "Did Ron say he saw the thing in his office at the station?" "Yes, it was here," Ron yelled. "Get out now." "Wait," Daphne said, standing. "You feel that?" "Feel what?" "An electric shock. It's rippling up my arm." "It said it would start like that," Ron said, his voice manic. "Get out of there now. Something bad is going to happen to all." His voice stopped. His body went rigid. Ron blinked and a tear rolled down his face, or what I thought was a tear. But as he smeared the liquid across his cheek, it became glaringly obvious what was falling from his eyes. Blood. "Ron," I drawled, "are you okay?" He touched his face and looked at his blood-stained fingers. "My God, it's just like he said." "Guys, something's happening here," Ollie said. "I can't see anything and the electrical charge is spreading. It feels like a spark when you touch a doorknob, but it's traveling across my entire body. What in the world?" "Oh, hell no," Sauce yelled. "I'm out of here." "Same," Bobby said, his courage shrinking in the moment. A pair of footsteps followed their declarations. Someone down there had some sense. "Chuck said it started like, what's happening to me?" Willie said, pain lacing his voice. "Oh my God, Willie, what?" It's all Ollie got out. Until they screamed. "Ollie," I yelled, embracing the full-on dread. Silence. "Ollie?" And Daphne said, a panic finally creeping into her voice. "Come on, Ollie, if this is a joke, it's a horrible one. Answer me." No response. Ollie's mic feed was still running. Over the speakers, we heard slowly approaching footsteps. At first, I thought it was Ollie returning to grab the mic. As the voice started speaking, it ruined those dreams. "Your end has arrived." The feed cut after that. "It's beginning," Ron whispered before his eyes rolled back into his head and he dropped to the ground. I jumped up and ran to him. Watching house reruns was the extent of my medical training. I didn't think that it could help much, but I still tried. To no one's surprise, it didn't work. Daphne joined me, leaned over Ron and placed her fingers on his neck. He's got a pulse, and you can see his chest moving so he's breathing. Call an ambulance." "What about Ali?" I asked, my eyes filling with tears. A splotch of red appeared on my arm, and then another and another. I followed the trail of drops until I saw its place of origin, Daphne's nose. What started as a trickle had become a steady flow. "Dav," I said, rubbing my nose. "Oh crap," she said. No. They said it wouldn't happen to me." "Wouldn't happen to you? What are you talking about?" You what?" I spat. Anger surged in my body. "What's going on?" "I didn't just look up the Wanderer. I summoned it." My brain disassociated. I could feel tiny, fizzy bubbles bursting in my mind. My vision narrowed. A weight in my gut kept me on the ground. It took everything in me not to black out. And Daphne and I locked eyes. I didn't need to ask the obvious question. We had worked so hard to build this show, this audience. I couldn't just let that die because an AI huckster had swayed some bright star bean counter. I thought the only thing that could save us would be a news story that went viral. If the wider world knew about us, it'd be harder to get chopped. I mean, who doesn't love a ghost story? I glanced up. We were still broadcasting. Daphne was confessing to the entire valley, the entire world. She continued. "I heard about the Wanderer, and well, the more I read about it, the more it seemed like I should use that as a basis. But then I met someone who told me where I could find the creature and speak to it." It took everything in my power to look over at her. I felt my hands ball up on the carpet, not because I wanted to hit her. I was trying to find something to hold on to. As insane as the night was going, I was afraid that I would start floating away. Nothing was outside the realm of possibility now. "What did you do?" "I asked for help. It said it would require a sacrifice. I told it that I had a person in mind and we agreed. But it lied, Jack, it lied to me." She softly started sobbing. It clicked. "Ali? You meant Ali, didn't you?" And Daphne looked over. Her eyes were ringed in bloody tears. She looked like she was wearing a red Lone Ranger mask, trying to hide her true self from the world, from me, but I saw her clearly now. "Initially, yes, I love Ali, but they weren't part of the team, not really. When I heard the homeless guys down there, well, I thought they'd work better as a sacrifice instead. I mean, who would miss them?" I felt a flutter in my chest. "What happens now?" "We go viral," Daphne said. A rivulet of blood snaked out of her nostril. She wiped at it, but the flow gained strength. "Crap," she said, trying to staunch the bleeding. "We're gonna die, aren't we? Everyone who heard its voice." The lights flickered in the room until they went off. We weren't in total darkness, though. Incredibly, the red on-air sign glowed above us, a reminder of my childhood wish to be a radio star. Now the sign was nothing but a beacon of doom. Night moves had cursed the valley, maybe the entire world once this thing spreads online. When the studio lights came back on, Ron and Daphne were gone. A dark figure stood in the room now. Black clouds billowed at its feet. The smell of death was heavy in the air. The South Street Wanderer had arrived. I didn't look up. If I ignored it, it would go away. Those were the rules, right? Or was it too strong now? Did those rules no longer matter? Maybe I could still reverse everything. Reject its message. Give myself time to solve this. Once I figured out how to combat it, I could spread the message to everyone. Use the radio to save us all from whatever evil was coming next. A splotch of red splashed onto my hand. Crap. A spark crackled at the base of my skull. A wave of electricity rolled over my entire body like water streaming from a dam. The Wanderer mumbled something. but my heart thumped in my ears, and darkness rushed in from the edges of my vision. I shut my eyes. The last sound that I heard was the crack of my skull hitting the floor as I collapsed on the ground. Damon McCory, Rain, Big Country Allen, Nelson Asada, Dice Screaming, Meat Gasher, Malcolm Black, Dalla Magara, Justin Fognauer, That One Woodsman, Die Can't Play, Dino, Deggy, MP Massacre 91, Leon Knott, SWAT, Kathy McGuire, Jimmy Griffin, Miss Eldridge, Dragon Slayer 048, Takeo Zarilla, Sanjay Anthem, Sleepy Shumi, Mark Norman, Mina Lingetter, Richard French, yours truly, Omni Rubex, Sonic GMT, Wayward Son, Caleb Windsor, Never Enough, Russell and Flo, Stevie B 7649, Ray Weingartner, Stephen King 04, Shrimpo the Shrimp, Genevieve Sweet, Lone Wolf Sam, Ivory Sage, Lunas TV, I Am